GL365.com. Well, Metallica recently released a completely reworked version of Blackened called Blackened 2020, mostly acoustic. So I'm going to take a look at this one today. I got some requests for it. It's just released a couple weeks ago. So I'm going to be doing all the Hetfield's acoustic parts, but I'm also going to be checking out the fills and the solo that Kirk Hammett plays on electric guitar. All right, so we're going to jump right into this in just a second. Before I do, please subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Ring the notification bell so you'll know when I release a new video, of course. And please check out my Guitar Academy. I'm offering a free 7-day trial right now. So you can just click the link in the description below, and you'll be able to set your account up and check out all my guitar courses covering everything from a complete beginner course to improvisation, technique, ear training, guitar tone, everything. There's a lot of stuff over there. We got a great community, so hopefully you'll join us. All right, so now this main riff kind of starts with those mutes, and then it is. So the only time you're going to really see those little hammer pulls are going to be here in the intro. So this riff, so that's going to be just kind of rotating between the open E string and then the 7th fret on the A. And then plays 8/7. And then it goes back to kind of rotating back and forth between the E and the A string. And then the second time around, we have this. Instead of going 8/7, we go to the 9 on the D string, back to that 7 on the A. So hear this. And then back to the 8/7. So all together. I'm sorry, don't do that 8/7. Just jumps to this power chord here at the 6th fret. And when you do the power chord the first time, you play it, you hammer on 7, pull off to 6, pull off to the open E, and then start over. So it is. Now when you start over again, start the riff kind of the same way. And that time, when he does the fill, he does it a little bit earlier, same lick. So he comes back down on the B flat chord there. So we have this for here's the first 2 times through. And then the remainder times we're playing the riff without any of those hammer-on pulls. It's just. Alright, and then we get to the verse, which is similar. So when the vocals come in here, it's just slightly different. And he's got this, he does some little hammers in there a lot, which I'll talk about, but it sounds like this. So that right there is it's kind of the same riff, and then the 8/7 on the A string, and then back again. It's kind of like the first half of the main riff there. So we never get to that. I'm not doing the note on the D string there. So. With these chords right here, we're gonna have that B flat power chord we did earlier, and then a G power chord with the 5th and the bass. So that's at the 10th fret. You're gonna bar across the 10th fret on the A and the low E string, while also holding the 12th fret there on the D string. So. Now, when he goes to start over the verse, and this little, he does a hammer on from 5 to 7 on the A string. Now he'll throw that hammer on 5/7 throughout the rest of the track, kind of randomly. So sometimes he'll throw it in during the verse or the main riff. He'll also play that. So you can just kind of throw it in randomly too, but that does occur from time to time. So. And then we're back to the main riff that has that hammer on in it as well. So a couple times of that riff, and then we get to the chorus, which sounds like this. Alright, so that is going to start with this E power chord. So just the E power chord here at the 7th fret of the A string. With the open low E, let the open strings ring to the B and the high E string ring. Then we're going to go back to one of those power chords with the 5th and the bass. So that's going to be the bar across the 5th fret of the A and the low E, while playing the 7th fret there on the D. So we have that chord, and then it just resolves it to an regular A power chord, so that's just going to add the 7th fret there on the A string. From there we go to an E minor. Alright, so all together we have this. Then we're going to go back to another power chord off the 3rd fret of the low E, this G power chord. And then back to that D power chord with the A in the bass, with the 5th in the bass. So, and then back to the E. So we have this. Now back to the E. So this one's going to be a little bit different the second time through. Starts the same though. Alright, so that's that E power chord, and that same D with the 5th in the bass to the A power chord. But now we're going to go kind of the same thing we did here, but at 2 frets down. So that C power chord with G in the bass, and then resolve it to the G power chord. And then Hetfield plays the power chord down here, and then I say Hammett kind of is doing it up here. So Kirk is up here and Hammett's down here, but there's just this B flat power chord, the first one at the A string. So it goes back to that main riff there. And then we get to the same verse, the same main riff again, and the chorus. Now the only difference in the chorus here is there's some fills here by Kirk Hammett. So I'm gonna, when I switch to electric, I'll play those because those are on electric. So I'll do those right before the solo here at the end of this video. So we have the same chorus, and then we have this bridge section, which uses a lot of harmonics and stuff like that. It sounds like this. that takes us to the solo. So it's basically just these harmonics at the 12th fret of the low E, then the D, and the B. And we then go to an A sus2 chord, and he's continuing to add the 5th in the bass. So the A sus2, you're basically, it's like an A major chord, but with the open B string. But you're going to have the low E in there as well, so it's got 5th in the bass. So back to that, those 3 harmonics, and then that chord. So he kind of does that 4 times before the vocals come in. And then when the vocals come in, he plays the harmonics, and he doesn't do the chord strum, and then he does the harmonics again, and we'll follow with the chord, and then do that again. All right, then we are going to go to this G power chord, then to a B power chord off the A string, but once again he's going to be playing the 5th in the bass. So anytime you're seeing a power chord on the 5th string on this tune, he's going to be playing the 5th in the bass underneath it to make it sound a little bit bigger. So that 2nd fret across the A and the D and the low E there, 4th fret there on the D, and then take that up to the C, same shape, and then to the D. So. And then we're going to go kind of back to the harmonic section, but it's going to start by hitting the low E and then hitting the harmonic on the D and the G together. Let that ring, and then that A sus2 thingy again, and then back to, and then, and here he kind of does the same thing, but he kind of halfway strums where before he had paused. But it's a lot of the same thing. And then there's one actual pause there, and then back. So you'll know if you know the song, and then back to the same ending chords. All right, so then comes the solo. So underneath the solo, Hetfield is just playing that main riff. It's kind of hard to hear if he's actually hitting that B every time. It might be a... But looks like he is. It's just kind of really low in the mix. Because it is the timing and everything of the main riff version of that. All right, and then we have verse 2, which is the same as the earlier verses there. And that ended with that... So with an E flat, but it's a little bit different. It's just gonna, instead of ending with that verse number 2 ending with those chord changes, it's gonna end just with a B flat and stop, and then go straight back into the main riff. So that's gonna be a little bit different there than the previous verses. And then the same chorus again, and then the same riff that. Once again, we're going to end after we do it like 4 times. Just going to hit it 4 times. 4th time through, you're just going to stop on that chord. All right, so let me know now. Go grab the electric. I'm going to start with the fills that happen in the chorus, and then I'll take a look at Kirk Hammett's solo note for note. All right, so now I will kind of say there is a couple things, like in the beginning you see him come in with just kind of, he'll take an E minor chord, just kind of do that kind of stuff. I didn't really cover that because really I covered Hetfield's part, but if you wanted to do that, this is kind of an E minor chord at the beginning of the track on a clean tone, which I'm not using here. And then there's a kind of, during that bridge section with the harmonics, there's that trill. That's going on the whole time. That's just a trill between the 0 and 2 on the D string. And he does that kind of throughout the entire section. All right, so that's, now for the actual fills that happen during that, it starts in the 2nd chorus. He has that little... So that's sliding into the 9th fret on the D. then 7th on the G, 8 on the B, back over to the 9 on the G. And then we have this, which is sliding into 16 on the G, hit 15 a couple times on the B, into the 17th fret there on the B string. All right, so that's it for the fills and stuff. So let me play through the main solo real quick for you, and then I'll show you how to play it note for note. So here we go. All right, so we're gonna start here. We're E Phrygian Dominant. So you know, he loves this scale, uses it all throughout their music. Works obviously that riff right there works really with that scale. So it's called Phrygian Dominant. Sometimes you hear it called Phrygian Major. It's basically a Phrygian mode or scale with a major third instead of a minor third. So that's what he's going to be using here. So what's happening is we're playing the 16th fret, pulling off 13 and 12, and then we're kind of picking the open E. So picking the 12th fret, then the open E. So I'm pulling off these notes. So after the 4th time of pulling off here, it starts shifting down. So we have this. So that's pulling off now just 12, 10 to the open E. Then you pick it again. Same thing now, pulling off 10 to 8. Pull off to the open E, and you pick it again. So it is. Slower. And then we get here to the 8 and 7 here. And so it's just pulling off 8, 7, 0. And then picking that open 8 again. So now you're just doing that 7 to the open E. So say we're here, just at the 7th fret. So you're gonna repeat here for a little bit. And then it starts descending. So that's gonna, it does the pull off from 10 to 9 to the open B. So on the B string, 10, 9, open B, and then back to that 9, and back to the open B, and then it resolves to the 9th fret there on the G. So we have all together. So now we have a different little melody line here, and there's an open G. He keeps hitting the open G string in here every once in a while when he's starting a phrase over these. So he plays that, and then you hear the open G string ring, and then you hear this. So that's just hammer 9 to 11, 9 to 10 on the G, back to 9, and then same thing, 13, hammer 14, back to 13 on the G. Then over to the B string, 12, hammer, 13, back to 12. So, all right, then we have this. So that's going to be 13, 14 on the G string, over to 12 on the B, up to 13. Then you're going to do a hammer on. So 12 to 13, pull back off to 12. Then we're back to the 14 on the G, back to the 12 on the B, then back to 13 on the G. So we have this. Then we go up the scale from the 13 to 14, then 12, 13, 15 on the B. Then back down. So all the way back down the scale to that 14th on the G. So we have this so far. Stop it on that 14th fret on the G, and then so just go back from that 14, go to that 13, 12 on the B, then just between 14 and 13 on the G to end it. And then we're back to this next phrase. I'm gonna hear that open G in there real quick. So that's just that 9. Pick it a couple times. Hammer 11. Sorry, hammer 10. Slide to 13. Then hammer 13 to 14. Over to 12 on the B. And then hammer 12, 13. Over to 12 on the high E. All right, and then we have this next kind of repeated lick. So that is going to be, sounds like he's trying, the first time through he does it like this. He goes, play 12, 13, 12, open B, and then shift back 9, 10, 9, open B, and then he plays 9, 10, 9 on the G. So, and then the remaining times he plays it, he kind of just plays 10, 9 on the G when he goes to, instead of going. So it's kind of fast. And then kind of got one of those things at the end. And then we have this. So that's going to be 9, 10, 9 hammer 10 on the G, and then 9, 10 on the B, back down to 9, back down to 10, 9 on the D, I'm sorry, the G string. Sorry, this. Then shift down to the 7th fret, then back up 9, 10, 9, back down to the 7. So we have this. Then reach for the 10 on the D, then shift down to 9, 7, 9, then 7 on the G. So it's kind of a weird way to play it, but that's, from what I was watching him, it's kind of what he's doing. So he plays that, and then we're going to resolve it there at the E, and he's going to end his solo here. And this is where the playing gets a little bit jarbled up a little bit. He starts kind of hanging out on that E, then he starts going into a tremolo picking. And you start, so he's tremolo picking this leg. So basically, you just pick that E, and then he plays the 10, 10, 9, then 12, 9 in the melody. So then holding that E again, then we just go through a full melody, 10, 12, 13, 12, and then 10. So we have this. So you're playing each one of those melody notes and keep going back, tremolo picking in between it on the E. So it starts out 10, 12, and then 10, 12, 13, 12, 10, and then do 10, 12, 13, 12, 10 again with the tremolo picking. So we have this. Now when he's playing that G natural, it's a straight E Phrygian. And then he goes, so he switches between the E Phrygian, then E Phrygian Dominant, and then back down to E Phrygian. So it kind of resolves on that note. All right, so that is about it for the solo and for all of this Blackened 2020. I thought it sounded pretty cool. A pretty cool take on the song, so I hope you guys enjoyed it. I'll see you again soon for GuitarLessons365.com.